But today I want to share with you and show with you on the board how you can actually change your limiting beliefs forever. Now, the very first step to change is understanding, right? Like you need to, first of all, understand what you're doing, because if you're ignorant, then you're going to be trying to use like the wrong or the right solutions for the wrong problem or the wrong medication to solve something else, right? So what I want you to understand is that, first of all, the difference between your thoughts and your beliefs. Most of the time, people spend time changing their thinking, their thoughts, and not changing their beliefs, right? So why your beliefs is actually what is actually determining your thoughts, because your thought is not the thing that you need to focus on. So the reason why you keep doing the work and it feels like you're trying to change your beliefs all the time and change your beliefs, and these beliefs keep coming up, is because you're actually changing your thought, you're changing your thinking and not your belief system, right? So I want us to first of all start there, and then let's go now into the detail for you to understand what the difference is between your thought, your thinking, and then your beliefs. Now let's take your mind, right? Let's draw on the board. Let's say this is your mind. Hope you can see this clearly. So this big circle on the board is your mind. And now on one side, let's divide it into two. We have the subconscious, and then we have the conscious mind, right? So your subconscious mind is the part of your mind that you are not aware of, right? Now, remember, everything exists in duality. So duality means that everything has a flip side and everything exists in polarity, negative and positive, meaning that charges, right? So it exists in two forms. So the subconscious part of your mind is the part of your mind that actually runs your life on autopilot, that you are not aware of, that you don't see, and that is like the automated part of your mind. And you may know this already. And the conscious mind is a part of your mind that you are aware of, right? This is the part of your mind that you can observe, you can see, and you can really control, right? So this is more about like your receiving mind, right? And receiving is like feminine. Some people call it feminine mind. That is, if you want to use polarity, it's the feminine part of your mind, because it's the part of your mind that receives everything and then store it. And then this is actually the masculine mind, part of the mind, which is the giving mind, is the part that gives out, right? So literally, your subconscious, and you already know this, your subconscious is responsible for 95% of your results, and it's controlling your life on autopilot. So what is your subconscious mind made of? Your subconscious mind is made of your beliefs. This is where your beliefs lie. Your subconscious mind is made of your emotions. This is where your emotions lie. And your subconscious mind is where your behavior lies and memory lies. While your conscious mind is where your thinking happens. It is which is your intellect. It is where your feelings happen, and it is also where your actions happen, right? Your actions happen, and it's where your reasoning happen. So I want to draw a diagram for you to actually realize how you are actually using this, which is your mind, to manifest the reality that you have right now, and how you may be manifesting in one way, and why it's actually difficult for you to actually change a belief, and what you can start doing next. So remember what I just said. So here I'm going to write it on the board for clarity. Beliefs, emotions, okay, so here in the subconscious mind, if you can see, the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, which is what you know and what you've been taught and what you've spent so much of your time doing, is knowing that their thought create your feelings, right? And your feelings determine your action, and your action actually create your result. Great. So this means that if you desire to make $100,000 in your business or to make 100 million in your business, you need to think thoughts that are in alignment with 100 million, feeling feelings that are in alignment with 100 million, and take actions. And this process is actually going to create your results, right? And this is actually the conscious manifestation process, right? And this is what you have been doing all this while. So what happens is that most people, when you're using this process, what you're trying to change is you're trying to change your thinking and your feelings. And remember, your thinking is what you are aware of. Now, this is the part of your mind that is actually, you can know and you observe. For example, red light. Now, you're thinking, you just thought of the red light that I said, right? Or if you didn't think, the part of your mind that is actually seeing me and talking and all of that, that reasoning part is your thinking. So it's your thoughts. And the thought that you're thinking, you can observe and see. So that is why it's called conscious, meaning that you can see it. Now, the subconscious is actually what determines your result 90% of the time, because it is a part of your mind that you don't see. And this is like what runs the show on autopilot. So how does it run the show? It runs the show because everything that is in your conscious mind comes from your subconscious mind. Now, remember, I said this is the part of your mind that receives, and this is the part of your mind that gives. So it's like the relationship is like this. So every thought that you're thinking actually comes from your subconscious mind, right? Now, and your belief, so in your subconscious mind, this is the manifestation process. And this is the difference between manifesting in your conscious mind and manifesting in your subconscious, which is what you're doing all the time, and which is why you have the result that you have, and which may be why you're trying so hard to change your beliefs, but it's not going because you're actually changing your thoughts and not your beliefs, right? So in your subconscious mind, remember the things that you don't know, you have beliefs. And these beliefs create your emotions, right? And your emotions are automated chemical processes that happens in your soul body and also in that are stored in your physical body. So they begin in your soul body, which is your subconscious, and then they are stored in your physical body. And these emotions actually determine your behavior. So, and I want to make the difference between this, right? So the difference between beliefs and thoughts is that your thoughts are the things that you think consciously, their interpretation that you give to things, right? While your beliefs are actually patterns. They are patterns which are a set of beliefs that have been repeated so many times that have become a pattern in your subconscious mind. So these thoughts are generated from beliefs. So it depends, it's based on your belief system that you can think a certain thought about certain things, right? So the relationship between your thought and your beliefs is that your thought, right? Your belief determine your thought through the process that I call interpretation, right? Interpretation. And then your thought, remember, this receives actually create your belief through the process called repetition. So your thoughts are constantly creating your beliefs, right? Because if a thought is repeated so many times, right, then it's gonna create a belief. So and it's more than that, right? It's more than that. And also is the same relationship with your emotions, right? So I'm going to draw some arrows on the board and I'm going to explain. So your thoughts create your feelings create your action create your result. Now, the difference between emotions and feeling is that, again, emotion is the chemical subconscious thing that happens in your body, while your feeling is your interpretation of the emotional reaction you are feeling, right? So your emotions are actually subconscious. They are the things that happen in your body without you controlling. And then how you interpret what you are, the experience you're having is what we call your feeling. For example, you can be having a feeling, an emotion. For example, if maybe you see a snake, right? And what your body is going to get into, into the state of fear, right? And it's going to release fear or whatever chemicals, which are emotions. And you might interpret that emotion as anxiety. You might go into an anxiety and you feel anxious. You feel this, you feel that. So your feelings is not always the emotions, because your feeling is the interpretation of the emotions. And at times your interpretation of the emotions might be wrong, right? So your emotion is actually your subconscious energetic state. It's the subconscious state that you're feeling and you're grounded and you're in. You see what I mean? Now, coming to your emotions now determine your behavior. So which is your emotional state. Your emotional state determine your behavior, right? While your feelings determine your action. So the difference between action and behavior is that behavior, again, is an action that is repeated so many times, right? And it has become part of you, while an action is what you take in the now. Okay. So this literally means that all of these processes are related through one thing. Your beliefs create your thought through repetition. Your thoughts create your belief through repetition. Your feelings determine your emotion through repetition. Your action determine your behavior through repetition. And your behavior is creating your action through interpretation, and your emotion is creating your feelings through interpretation, and your beliefs is determining your thought through interpretation. So it's like these thoughts, beliefs, all of these are actually related. They're in a relationship. Now, another relationship I want you to explore. Now, again, remember, I know that we are talking about beliefs here, but I need you to understand this, because if you don't, you're going to spend time doing things that may not actually really serve you to reprogram your mind, which is why you struggle to reprogram beliefs, right? Your beliefs, right? Now, there's also a relationship between your beliefs, your emotions, and your beliefs, right? It's like, so now remember, this is a subconscious process. This is an automated process. This is not a process that you have control over. This is a process that runs on its own on autopilot, right? This is the process that you have control over. So you can change your thinking, you can change your feelings, and you can change your action. But remember, this is what actually determines 95% of your results. So if you are making $50,000 a month right now, it's not because of this, because this is the 5%, 5 to 10% that is creating your result. So if you want to actually create massive mind-blowing result, what you need to focus on is this process, right? Is this. So now I want us to focus on this process, right? On this process right here. So let's say you desire to change your beliefs. If you desire to change your beliefs, again, you want to understand that, remember, your belief is in relationship with your thought. So and your beliefs in relationship with your emotions. So what does these up arrows mean? This up arrows means that these actually also influences your belief. So your behavior strengthens more of your belief. Your emotional state also strengthens your belief. And this is where I want you to just follow, okay? Your emotional state strengthens your belief. Your behavior strengthens your belief, and your thinking strengthens your belief, right? So, and every behavior comes from an emotional state. So let's talk about emotions. This is where I want us to focus on. Because if you have spent so much time changing your thinking, changing your feelings, then it would really take a long time to change all your thinking, to actually change your beliefs, because all the times you're gonna keep interpreting and giving different thoughts. Like your mind, your belief is actually gonna determine what you're gonna think all the time. So for example, what color is this? What color is this? Okay, I know you immediately said black, right? Why did you say black? Just think about it. Why did you think this is black? Probably you said this is black because of a piece of belief that you have in your mind around this. So the thought that you had, which is black, is not, is coming from a belief that has categorized this color as black. Okay, what if you had a belief that this color is not actually black, this is white? What would your thinking be? Your thought would be that is white, right? I thought that was funny. That your thought would be that is white. So the reason why you believe that this is black, the reason why you said this is black, which is when I show what color is this, your brain goes, like your conscious mind goes, black, is because of that belief, right? So all the time, the thought that you're thinking is actually the thoughts that are coming from your subconscious. So what happens is that there are main ways here that you can change your beliefs forever. The first way is going to be through thoughts, through this process, repetition. So now, this process is a little bit challenging. Why? Because most of the times you don't even know what you believe, because most of your beliefs are created, one, when you are in a theta brain state, meaning that information just goes directly into your subconscious, and these informations they form strong beliefs, or the information goes in your mind through when you have a high emotional experience. And this is what we are going to be focusing on. So when you actually have a thought and you're repeating a thought through the process of repetition, and you repeat it over and over and over and over and over and over again through the process of repetition, it can actually form a belief and becomes a belief. But this is going to require you to use self-awareness. So self-awareness means that you're going to be very mindful. So mindfulness is the process of observing your mind and observing your thought, right? So when you're mindful and you're self-aware, you see a thought pops up, you consciously change that thought and think the new thought that you want to think. That is conscious thinking, right? And this is what most people do, right? And the way you can do this conscious thinking is like, for example, you want to let's say do a video, and your brain is like, and you will just have the thought, nobody is going to watch it. So you can then consciously choose to change that thought, right? But then it doesn't mean you have changed the beliefs, which is what I want you to notice. And when you change that thought consistently and repeatedly long enough, it's going to form a new belief. But this is going to take a lot of repetition, because the thing that you currently believe in your mind right now that is blocking you and stopping you from manifesting has been repeated for such a long time. Maybe it's something that you've been repeating for 20 years of your life, if you're 20 years old, or you've been repeating for 50 years. So you will need to repeat that thing consciously and be very mindful. So you're going to be mindful by constantly observing yourself. Be mindful, watch your mind, what you're thinking. If you want to do something, for example, you want to create a new offer, or you want to put a post out there, and your brain is like, oh, that is not perfect. You have the thought that's nobody, oh, don't bother, nobody is going to buy. Now you have to be conscious enough to be like, okay, what is that thought? The thought is, nobody is going to buy. Okay, no, I'm choosing a different thought. I am choosing to think a new thing. And in this process of choice, of choosing to think a new thought, I want you to realize that most of the time when the belief is new and you are going into the opposite belief, your brain, your subconscious is going to resist. Your brain is actually going to resist and not believe it, right? So it means that if you're like, nobody is going to buy, and you go immediately like to no, somebody is going to buy, your brain is not going to believe it, because that's too much of a gap. So the way I always recommend that you can do, and what I teach my clients, is how to actually go from that polarizing and of nobody is going to buy to a neutral place, a neutral spot that doesn't really say somebody is going to buy. Because initially your brain is not going to, you're not going to believe it. Your conscious mind is not going to believe it. But with time, you can then do that. So it's like, first thing, observe and be mindful of your thinking. Watch the things that you're thinking. And this is the one that has worked and what most people are used to doing. And then when the thought comes up, instead of going from like, nobody is going to buy this offer to somebody is going to buy this offer, go from nobody is going to buy this offer to, okay, I'm just showing up to share. And whether people buy or they don't buy, it's okay. So it's like you're choosing a new thought, right? That is going to be in a neutral thought. It doesn't really have meaning. And that is where, when you are in a state of neutrality and you're neutral, that is actually when you can actually change and reprogram and change your subconscious mind, right? And change your mind easily. Now, with time, when you've maybe done that for some time, and your subconscious has actually believed that, you can now create the new polarizing belief, which is on the other end. So the problem, right, you keep changing and the belief is not going, is because you're also going from thinking this is not going to work to, or nobody's going to buy this, to somebody's going to buy this overnight, right? So at times, you just need to show up and create a neutralized belief. And the quality of this neutralized believing is that this neutralized belief should be a belief that is in a neutral state, that is detached. There's no attachment to it, right? And I teach this detailedly to my clients, right? So we're not going to go deeply into that, but that is the step that you take to actually make the change in your brain work faster, right? Because that's a long process. Now, the second way that you change this belief, because again, we want to make sure that our results are coming from here. Because if this is changed, every other thing here is going to change. This change, everything is going to change, right? So the second thing is that, now remember I said relationship between emotions. Now, there are three ways that your beliefs are formed. Your beliefs are formed through repetition, a repeated thought. When you think a repeated thought so many times, your beliefs are formed when you are in a susceptible state, brainwave state, which is theta state, meaning that information goes into your brain when it's actually in a very susceptible state, right? And your beliefs are formed when you are in a high emotional state. So you being in a high emotional state means that each time that you are in a very high emotional state, and mostly when we are in a high emotional state and in a theta brainwave state, our brain can be reprogrammed in a second. So three ways your beliefs are formed. One, repetition. Two, when your brain is in a theta wave state. Three, when you are in a high emotional state. So let's talk about beliefs in a high emotional state. For example, if someone who experiences an accident, for example, let's say an accident, in that high state, that maybe they are in that high emotional state, there are beliefs that are created. And those beliefs can be, cars are dangerous, right? And this is not a thought. In that moment, because it is an emotional thing, it goes directly into their subconscious mind. They don't have to repeat that thought. You don't have to ever tell them, or they don't have to hear it every day to actually believe that thing, right? So they instantly believe it, and it with every fiber of your being. And the next time, maybe if they had a accident, let's say on a bike, you put them on a bike, or they see a bike, subconsciously, their body is actually going to go into that freeze, fright, or whatever response, right? Because it to them is like, this is the belief that I have. So he doesn't, or she doesn't have to, in that high emotional state, you just receive, right? And then the theta state is the state where you're in between awake and sleeping. So this is the state where your brain is almost in a hypnotic state, right? And this state is also in infants between their early ages, up to the age of maximum 12, but up to the age of 8, between the age of 8 and early childhood. So when children are in that early state, their brainwave is in theta state, because they are not, their conscious mind is not fully developed, especially when they're around 3, 4. They don't really know things. So they are just absorbing everything. And the strongest beliefs, right? The strongest beliefs to reprogram, which are actually the beliefs that are controlling your life, are the ones that are actually formed in 1, repetition, 2, in theta state, and 3, in emotional state. So I'm going to open a new page and show you, because here's the thing. The strongest emotions, the strongest beliefs that you have right now are the ones that have emotional attachment to them. And they are the ones that were formed when your brain was in a that theta state, right? So why? Now I'm gonna explain that to you. Why? Because I just love this stuff. You remember, right? Let's come back here first of all. So if you want to change your beliefs, right, you need to be able to change your emotions. And remember, I didn't say your feelings, because your feeling is what you can have in, like, it's your interpretation of your emotions, right? But your emotion is actually the chemical reaction that is going on in your body that you cannot really, you cannot really control. So when people are like, change your feeling, and for example, you are doing something just for the moment to feel good, to change your vibration, what is actually contributing to your vibration is this 95% of your time. And this is actually what determines if you're going to attract something or you're going to repel it. And because this is 95%, this is your energetic body. This is what is giving your energy in the quantum field, in the fourth dimension. This is actually what determines your vibration 95%, and this is 5%. So you can maybe, if you're feeling anger, or you have an anger core, an emotion called anger stored in your body, for example, and then you actually decide to watch a movie and you start feeling good, it doesn't, you feeling good in that moment doesn't change your energetic vibration and your energetic frequency. The emotion that you have within is anger, is this. So this is why I don't also believe that if you just feel sad for a moment, in order to manifest, you always have to be in the positive feeling. Like, you should not have maybe a sad moment, because life is full of duality. The journey of growth is like this, right? You have those low moments, and it's okay, because if that low feeling moment is not your emotional state, it doesn't really contribute to your magnetism or frequency as most people make it think, right? So I had to put that out there just so that I clarify. So the second way that you can, of course, reprogram your subconscious mind again is put yourself in that theta state, right? So this is the state between hypnotizing yourself, and this is the state that you go into when you're hypnotized. So this is when suggestions are put into your subconscious when you are in a susceptible state. And the way that hypnosis works is, if someone who can put you in that theta state, right? That means someone who knows how to hypnotize people, like myself, or a hypnotherapist can actually hypnotize you, and you are in the theta brainwave state. Is going to go directly into the belief, your subconscious, to reprogram the belief, right? And then the other thing is also when you are in that theta state, when you are in between sleep and waking up. So you are in that state when you are about to fall asleep, deeply into sleep, and you're also in that state when immediately when you wake up and you're not fully awake. So the way what you can do is that whatever beliefs that you know that you have, right, you actually put on like hypnosis quotes, not music, but quotes that actually goes into suggestion that go into your subconscious mind for that thing. So the problem now with the subconscious, though, is that most of the time you don't even know the beliefs that is holding you back. Okay, you don't know the beliefs because most of the beliefs are formed during emotional response or in high emotional state. So what happens is that you spend time changing thought, thinking that they are the beliefs. But beliefs, like what I want you to realize is that your beliefs are in your subconscious. And right now, all the thought that you have in your life might be coming from two core beliefs only. Two. In my life of work, what I've noticed with clients is that most clients have a maximum of 3 core beliefs. 3 core beliefs that are producing thousands and millions of limiting thoughts that are showing up in different areas of their life, their relationship, their finances, and all of that. So most of the times, you don't even know the beliefs until you have done this emotional release work, right? So when you know the beliefs, you have come to know the belief, you can of course use being in theta state, brainwave state, to actually suggest into your subconscious, and your subconscious is gonna reprogram fast, right? Now let's talk about emotions, because this is the one that I love, right? So when you are in a high emotional state, which is what we call trauma, or you have a high emotional experience, what happens is that your body and your brain is in a very high tense state, and anything in that moment goes straight into your subconscious mind. Why does it go into your subconscious mind? Because when you have a negative emotional experience, your body feels like you're in danger, right? And your body is stressed. Your body doesn't like you. Your brain doesn't like you being in danger. Your brain doesn't like you being stressed, because the primary job of your brain is to keep you safe. So what happens when you experience something that is traumatic is that your brain and your body goes into a high stress state, and it feels unsafe, it feels in danger. And because in that moment it feels in danger, your brain actually creates commands or commands to actually put in your subconscious mind as a protective mechanism, so that anytime something like that is about to happen, that command is going to show up and block you from doing that thing, so that you don't do that thing and feel the pain that your body just felt. Okay, so it's like this. When something happened, let's say you hit by somebody has a traumatic experience. Now, and trauma doesn't have to be something big like a car or something, right? Let's say your mom didn't pick you up from school, because trauma is not what happened to you. It's not what happened on the outside. It's what happened in you. It's what shifted on the inside of you, right? So let's say your mom didn't pick you up from school. And because your mom didn't pick you up from school, you actually felt bad, because in that moment you felt like you were abandoned, right? And what all the things. So because your body was feeling those emotions, right? Because your body was feeling those emotions as a result of something that has happened from the outside, right? As a result of a behavior from another person, right? Or a behavior from the external world, which is why you saw me. Okay, I come back to this. Because of the behavior from the external world, or your behavior, another person's behavior, you actually have this emotional response. Your body is like, oh no, you are abandoned, and your body feels pain because of this emotion. It actually creates some chemicals in your body in that moment, especially when you're in that young state. So what happens is that your brain doesn't like you being in that state, because it understands that it's not good for your health, it's not good for everything, it's not good when you're in that state. So your brain's job, remember, is to make sure that, okay, you are safe and you are alive, and that you don't feel anything that threatens your survival. So because you are feeling this emotion, and your brain knows that this emotion, this anger, this frustration, this feeling of resentment is actually not good for your health, your brain now looks for beliefs to use as a shield, so that next time anything that wants to happen like that, your brain put up that belief and stop you from putting yourself in situations like that, that is going to remind you of that emotion or create that emotion. So your brain actually use beliefs as a way of shutting down your emotions, as a way of you not feeling pain, right? As a way of you not having this emotional experience. So this is why beliefs that are formed from emotional experiences like trauma are the most difficult to break. So how do you reprogram these beliefs? Which is like, if all those other two ways, the first two ways, one, if you're repeating thoughts and it's not working, and if you're using brain like suggestion, hypnotherapy, and it's not working, my dear, this is what we are going to do, which I'm so excited about. The thing that you're going to do is that you're going to stop trying to change the belief, and you are going to get the body to actually release the emotion, so that that belief is not strengthened anymore. So it's like this. Okay, can you stay on the board here? Okay, yeah, I'm going to use this page. No. So it's like this. Every belief, right? Belief, remember, it comes from your emotions, theta states. Okay, let's say wave. Let's call it wave state. Or thoughts. So these are the primary ways your beliefs are formed. So if if you're now, the strongest emotions again are the ones that have these three. So maybe you had an emotional experience, right? These are the strongest to break, and these are the ones that are controlling your life, like I can say 100% of your time, not even 99, like 100. Now, there are beliefs that were formed when you were in the high emotional state, meaning you experience a high emotional thing, trauma. And they happen when you were in the theta brainwave state, meaning that you were in the early ages of your life, which is maybe, let's say, below 10. Below 10. And then things happen in your life that actually confirm and repeated that belief, right? Or things happen that you interpreted as a repetition of this belief. Thoughts. So you kept repeating the thought that you derive from these things, and then it forms this belief that is this strong thing that is now maybe holding you back, right? So the first thing, and of all of these three, the strongest is this, and then followed by this and this. So most of the thoughts are the ones that came from information from the outside, maybe information from the things that you saw, you heard, you touched, from your senses. So these are the things that came from your senses, and then maybe repeating and confirming this. So this is the strongest, followed by the one that is formed by this, followed by the one that is formed by this. So if you want to actually change your beliefs and shift them forever, I mean like forever, the first thing that we need to do is detach the emotional meaning that you have to the experiences that you hold. So it's like we need to release that emotion that your brain used this belief to suppress because it didn't want you to get into that emotional state. And because your brain, remember, the beliefs that happen during trauma, we call them commands because they are actually commanding everything in your life, is happened because your body was in a state and your brain was trying to stop you from ever putting yourself in that space where you experience that thing again. So, for example, your mom lifts you at school, and then the beliefs that you have right there is, I'm not lovable. I'm not lovable is your brain of saying, of putting you in a state where if whenever nobody comes and picks you, or or somebody abandons you, you're gonna say, I'm not lovable, and then you're not gonna feel the pain of not being lovable. So it's like you're gonna just say, yeah, I'm not lovable. I've always been unlovable. So it's gonna always, it's putting you in a place where you're gonna always have something to like confirm what is there, so that you don't actually feel the emotion of that thing. So your brain is literally trying to suppress your emotions by putting these beliefs, because it thinks that if you feel the emotion and process the emotion of that thing in that moment, it's going to be too painful, and it doesn't want you to experience that pain because it wants you to be safe. It wants to keep you alive, and it wants you to always feel good. So what do you do then? The very first thing is emotional work. So you do emotional release work. Now, this is what most people do. They try to change their beliefs without doing the emotional work. So the emotional work is actually the work of releasing the emotion, the stored and blocked emotion that are stored in your body, that are stored in your system, or that are actually holding you back from actually shifting the belief. And what happens is that most people don't even know the beliefs that they hold, like I earlier said, and that is because those beliefs are being blocked by the emotions. They are being blocked by emotions. But when you do the emotional work and you release, right, using high-level processes like my inner transformation method, what happens is that it actually opens up the subconscious mind for you to actually see, oh my God, this is actually what I believed. I thought that this is what I believe, but it was just what you thought you believe. It's not actually what you believe. So it's like opening up the subconscious mind through the channel of emotions. So when you do the emotional release work, what happens is that your body now, it has released, it has felt the pain, it has felt the emotion. Naturally, the beliefs are going to come up. The beliefs are going to come up for you. Now, most of you don't have memories of your childhood. Like when I even talk about traumatic things that happen in this day, you can't even remember them because your body has shut down the emotions, and your brain in the subconscious has put commands to actually block anything that comes to actually try to kind of like put you in that state. But these things are controlling your life on autopilot without you realizing. And this is why it's hard for you to break some beliefs. I know this has been like a masterclass, but if you actually can actually know what is in here and get like release the emotions that are attached to that belief, reprogramming the belief is becoming easy, because then you can use any of these two processes to to reprogram the belief. You see what I mean? So that is the primary thing. So what we call spiritual bypassing is when, or inner work bypassing is when people try again to do belief work without doing trauma healing work, without doing those emotional release work. So again, I'm not just talking about what you think trauma is. I'm talking about what is actually. Because at times, again, you have a perception of what you've taught trauma to be. It must have been something that made me to cry. At times, trauma, the things that actually traumatize you the most may not have even made you to cry. It may have just made you to feel sad in that moment, just to feel annoyed or to feel resentment. Right? So it's not the big things. Trauma is not what you think. It's not what happened to you it's what happened in you. So, and most of the time, the way that we go back there and try to be like, okay, what really traumatized you is actually letting a behavior trigger something. A behavior trigger an emotion. Remember, I didn't say trigger a feeling. Let a behavior to trigger an emotion, and then we deal with the emotion. And from the emotion, the belief is made known. The real core belief is made known, and you can reprogram it. So the thing is that if you can know the two core beliefs, the two core beliefs that are running every area of your life, all the thoughts that you're thinking is going to be so easy to reprogram, because it's like all the thoughts, you have like 20 million thoughts in your belief, like that you think are your belief, but in deep down on the side, there are two beliefs. And these beliefs are beliefs about self, belief about others, and belief about life. So mostly there are two beliefs about yourself, one about others, and maybe one about life that is controlling all your life. For example, for me, I use a lot of these to kind of like manifest success. But then it's like I got to a place where I was stuck, I was unhappy, I was the most angry person, I didn't even know my identity and all of these things. Because it's like, changing my thought for a while is giving me this result, but this is like 5% result. I can achieve 95%. I can change my total entire life. I can achieve my full potential. I can be this infinite being who doesn't have limit once I have unlocked this, right? And here's the thing. Once you have unlocked these two beliefs, or 3 or 4 or 5 beliefs, because in my work, I've realized that there are literally 10 beliefs that control everyone's life, that everyone must fall under. For me, for example, my number one core belief, like the root core beliefs, I am not good enough. It has always been. So any beliefs like, I don't have enough, or I don't know enough, or this person is not good enough. It's always a reflection. It's a projection of that core belief. It's not really that belief. So each time I think a thought of, maybe I should do this video, but this video is not going to be good enough. Oh my God, this I am not good enough is showing up as maybe perfectionism, right? But at the end of the day, it's showing up as maybe me thinking that other people are not good enough, which is a projection, which is just a thought. Me thinking that I don't have enough, which is still a projection. Me thinking that this is not enough. Me thinking enough. So each time that anything is not enough in any way, it comes from that belief. But can you see how 20,000 thoughts arise in my mind from that one core belief? But at times you can think that is actually the thought, actually the beliefs, right? So that is actually the magic of this work. Because here's the thing: if you can successfully change the belief, then you're going to change your life, right? So now there's a fourth way of changing the beliefs, but I don't like sharing these from people to people who have not actually been on this journey of using emotion work, and who have not followed this process, because it can cause what we call spiritual bypassing. So spiritual bypassing is when you use spiritual concept to actually suppress yourself and not do the work, and it will work for a while, but it will not work for long. So, and the process is actually transcending this limited identity as a whole. But this process of changing your limiting belief like permanently, it's transcending this identity as a whole. Transcending and stop seeing yourself as this. But this now has to do with you doing some healing work at the level of your consciousness. And that is more of an advanced thing. So you have to do with you not just healing your mind, which is what we have done, healing your emotions, which is your body, and healing your mind and reprogramming it, but transcending the identity now like a spiritual work of you really awakening to you being the spiritual being. But when you have not done this work of releasing the behavior work, emotional work, and then belief work, and you try to transcend, you jump stages, and it catches up with you, because in some way or form you're going to come back. So I will not share that in this video today unless you're already advanced and you have actually already done a lot of emotional work, a lot of belief work, and a lot of thought work, and you've actually used these 3 principles to actually change your life in some form, and you're at that stage where you just want to quantum leap and just create your next level success and become infinite and just create big things, right? Unless you've done this, I will not recommend that, but that is like the next level of it, to just go exponential with no limit, go infinite, right? And create infinite wealth from that place. So this was it for this video. Now, if you found this information helpful, and if this kind of like blessed you, please like, share, let me know your comments. And if you have any questions regarding the concepts that I've created, you can always ask the question. And remember, these teachings is better if you watch it over and over again, so that you can really fully understand, take notes. And I try to repeat myself so many times so that you understand. Now you understand why we repeat certain things, just so that you can really get it. Thank you so much. And I'm glad that you actually stayed. Now, I think my neighbor is hitting, I don't know what he's hitting. I don't know if y'all can hear pop, pop, but it's okay. But that is it for today's video. Please let me know what your comments are. Sorry, your questions are in the comments. And of course, we're going to get into another beautiful one, sharing with you all the beautiful things. Thank you and have a lovely day. And